Selamat datang dalam presentasi ini, which is in Bahasa. In English, if I translate it, it says, welcome to this presentation. We tried this trick because this university is based in Indonesia, and we will quickly introduce the university to you guys before we do the agenda. So today, for this presentation, we are going to talk about the introduction to Scholar UNAIR, which is the pure portal of the university, challenges that the university has faced, the implementation of pure, and which is the key component because the implementation was pretty complex. And I have the implementation manager here, Ms. Jeremy, who will be taking you through the implementation process, benefits and innovation of Scholar UNAIR, fostering pure adoption in the region, Scholar UNAIR's global impact, and then finally we'll conclude and have some time for Q&A. So Scholar UNAIR, which is the pure portal for Erlangga University. Erlangga University is one of the oldest public universities of Indonesia, and it is a very well-known university located in a very quaint city of Indonesia known as Surabaya. And the university stands for its global ranking in the region, for its impact ranking, for the work that it does in terms of offering multidisciplinary education across all the disciplines in terms of the undergraduate studies, graduate studies, PhD, and so on. Innovation is one of the key concepts which is the core concept for the university. It is known for a very innovative institute, and they're the key ones in terms of adapting new solutions, driving new forces in terms of driving research output or including new work for the university. So they came on board in 2021, and they named the portal Scholar UNAIR. And the role of Scholar UNAIR in terms of transformation, they wanted to centralize and unify the data. They also wanted to enhance the data quality, modernize the data management for the university. They also wanted to support the research performance, and we'll see more detail how they use different metrics in terms of doing the performance analysis for the research. Facilitate informed decision-making for the higher authorities in terms of where they want to take the university for the next step. So I'll hand it over to my colleague to talk more about the challenges of UNAIR and then the implementation.
All right, and I need to adjust the microphone up quite a bit. Yes, so as Priyanka said, University Erlangga had implemented Pure. They'd done a basic implementation of it, bringing in information from Scopus, but there were a number of challenges they had. So what they actually did was that they brought in implementation consulting services. So I came in to do another round of implementation, looking at new content types that they could leverage, trying to get their system set up more fully to realize the vision that they had. It's certainly, as Priyanka says, quite an old, prestigious, established university in Indonesia, but this came with a number of challenges. Certainly from my experience working in Australian universities, I'm used to normally there being sort of in the top division level about 6 different faculties or something like that at a university. Erlangga has 17 different faculties, and each of those faculties had their own IT systems and were very autonomous with their own processes. So trying to have a centralized system was a very big challenge for them. There was also a lot of change management issues of them trying to get people to collectively agree to use the one system, and people who are pushed for time and other things going, what's this system I need to deal with? So it was something that we needed to work through. A lot of the data was very patchwork in different places. There was a lot of manual collation they needed to do through this. And so as part of the implementation, we're really working with them to build on this further. So they already had data in their Pure, but a lot of the HR data they weren't quite sure of. They were having difficulties maintaining it. So we did some work with them around how they could better collate it, how they, really what we were trying to push was when you're in an environment where there were so many systems that nobody really trusted, we needed to make Pure a system that could be a trusted source for a lot of people, because that would encourage further adoption for people to actually connect in. We're also working with them to suggest how they could target particular faculties. So rather than trying to get all 17 in a room to agree on something, choose some of the most enthusiastic ones and be able to work on some proof of concepts with them to get things set up in the system so that then those processes could be applied to other areas. there was a number of different content types they wanted to bring into the system, and so there was a lot of technological upskilling they needed to do to be able to understand how these could be processes that they could manage in the future. But overall, we had a very successful implementation. They've been able to bring in course data, student theses, all sorts of information into that, better manage their HR data, and they've been leveraging the reporting module heavily. So they're quite used to working with SciVal data and now being able to bring in that data, compare the information in Pure. They're doing a lot of cross reports, being able to drive performance out of it. So it's been very successful, and they've been very happy with how Pure has been able to achieve those goals. So as I've already mentioned, so we needed to really there was a lot of issues of just general governance of what was going on, being aware of the projects, other things. Also within the Indonesian context, they've got national systems that capture a lot of this information, and so there was work to try to make sure that we had the same information in Pure that they already were required by national mandates to put into the national systems based on the funding models that they had. So we really wanted to make sure that there was consistency between them. But they've been using that in the reporting module, being able to look at how they can aggregate the data together and to be able to show all of this back, to show the interconnection of everything within their Pure system. So as part of this, they've been able to work to improve the processes of how they manage it. They're much happier with the data quality that they have now of what's in Pure, and are able to use that as a source for other people. They're starting to look at API and other ways to be able to retrieve the information, as some of the faculties have quite IT specialized people who are looking to be able to bring that out, bring into their own reports. So a lot of that is coming in and now driving their decision making. What we've also seen is that University Airlangga really tries to position itself as a leader within Indonesia, and there's a lot of interest in the work that they've been doing with Pure. There's a couple of other Pure clients presently, but this is a level of maturity that most universities don't have so far, so they've really been trying to emphasize that. I'll bring Priyanka up to talk a bit more about that, but I do want to highlight the photo on the far side is actually from the Pure workshops that we ran on site. They used this as a really big opportunity and event. They had a lot of attendees, incorporated dance routines at every break for us to go through to make sure that we weren't falling asleep as we went through the sessions, and was something that they really used to place good emphasis on it. So it was encouraging to see the way that they were trying to embed this sort of research management, getting better process excellence into their university and trying to get all the different faculties on board.
A very quick introduction in terms of what the role that they play in the region. Although there is no Pure user group in Indonesia, but Airlangga stands as an example for all other universities, and they go out of their way to share their experiences. So they run workshops, they invite people to visit their Scholar UNAIR and talk to them about what they do, how they do. And because of that, today we have 5 universities in Indonesia who are actually subscribing to Pure, and majority of them have come on board with us because of the experience that UNAIR had and what they shared with us. So I think that is something that it kind of created a community in itself and started creating an impact across the region in terms of how valuable this solution is for them, and then shared the best practices with the other universities.
So we have a video here of the Scholar UNAIR Award that they hand out to researchers at the university. Is that? No. have started the video by the looks of it. So within this, they've really placed emphasis on they call it a Dharma approach to talking about their academics excellence, so teaching, research and community service, common measures that many universities are looking at. But they're really focusing on promoting the work they do globally. They've been attracting interest from other universities, and really they've used the Pure portal as a way to be able to showcase that round. So that has been, you know, they're very proud of the work that they've done. We're proud to have partnered with them in that relationship. So in conclusion, yeah, they've really been working hard to transform their research management and their data integrity using Pure as a basis for that, and to be able to share that more broadly across the region. So I think it's exciting seeing the eagerness to further develop the work that they're doing, certainly being able to talk to them you know, as an implementation manager about my experiences in Australian universities and how those could apply in Indonesia was very relevant, and they're really working to bring up the regional universities in their region. We do want to thank particularly Pak Ferry Effendi, who was hoping to be here and not able to be here, a good partner of ours, but you know, we hope that we have done justice to his presentation today, so thank you.
Well, I guess questions can be tough. We can send it to him.
Yeah, if people have questions, we can try, but also we can put you in contact with them so that you can ask them more about the Indonesian context in more detail.
We got an easy one.
So how long did that implementation process take?
Okay, so because they had their initial implementation to get set up that I wasn't involved in, I think that one took like about 6 months or so, 6 to 8 months. And then the second phase that we did was another 8 months, I think, at the end, in terms of time that we took through it. It was quite different because a lot of clients are normally, you know, they're starting from the basis of building up Pure. This was really going, and how can you best use Pure? How can you leverage the parts of it you aren't presently? So it's something that I actually think is worthwhile for, you know, we've obviously got a lot of implemented clients of Pure here, but thinking about how the implementation services can support you, even if you have a more mature system in Pure, it's a model that we'd like to encourage people to consider.
One question about languages. So are all your publications in English, and how do you deal with the other languages?
Yeah, no, a lot of the publications aren't in English, and certainly when you get to the specific projects that they're working on and so on, they're, you know, local government funded initiatives mostly, so they're not in English. Presently the Pure portal doesn't have support, so they were, you know, using an English portal but had different language variants that were displaying on the page. If they had English, they would try to preference that so that it could be displayed. But it was certainly, you know, I think as more Indonesian universities come on board, it's something that we'd need to look at, making sure that we can support them properly on the portal.
Do we know anything about the traffic that they generate with their portal, even though it's English with Indonesian content in many cases? Do we know anything about that?
I think the traffic was, I mean, I checked with him and he said that it's an increasing trend because everybody within the region knows about Scholar UNAIR. So he was mentioning that they're very happy with the traffic that they generate in the portal coming across. And they were also mentioning that the traffic is not just limited from the Indonesia, but they also get a lot of traffic coming from Southeast Asia, Malaysia, and Singapore as well, in visiting them. Yeah.
And I have to say it's a shame that they weren't able to be here, because obviously at the conference we have a lot of European representation, but from APAC there's less voices. We've had some you know, colleagues from China and from Hong Kong presenting, which has been lovely, but I think you know, there's a real growing desire to better showcase, you know, their research, to be able to improve their processes. I know firsthand the sort of engagement that we have of people coming to Australian universities trying to, you know, figure out ways to improve the work that's going on. So I think it's a real space that we'll see more of in the coming years with Pure, as universities in the region are looking to, you know, become that sort of best of breed in their systems.
Any final question, thoughts? Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Well representing our customer.